I was basically born into an auctioneering family. From day one, everything I can remember has always revolved around auctioneering.
Our auction company is located in Iowa Falls, Iowa. Damon and I started in the auction business as young kids under our fathers. Iowa Land Auctioneers specializes in selling farmland across the state of Iowa for those individuals who do not have a auction background, an auction service to offer their local clients.
Going down the road with my dad when he was in his prime, doing his chant, he was always having me work on my chant. We were always setting up sales. We were always conducting auctions. It's just been 100% part of my life since I can remember.
I've been in this business, it'll soon be 54 years. I taught Damon as we was going down the road, we'd be chanting together. And I always wanted to be an auctioneer. So when I was teaching, he wanted to go along, so I took him along. I said, Damon, someday you'll be proud you went. And that day has come.
So I went to auctioneering school and graduated actual auctioneering college when I was 14.
The seller is who we work for. Our primary duty is to get the most money for their item.
My uncle and my dad were in the business, and Tyler and I kind of had different visions what they had. We were more the land, the machinery, commercial side of auctioneering. So we talked back and forth for a couple of years. About 5 years ago, we got really serious about it, and we just everything's kind of fell into where it is today.
We started in the equipment, machinery auction business. I've moved into land.
My first memory that I actually can remember when I was 4 years old, I would carry the sheets, the paperwork during the auction. And I remember when I was 10 years old being on my first land auction with my dad, and that's kind of what sparked it when I was 10 years old. Being at that land auction, feeling the excitement and the people around there. I've always kind of been land-driven auctioneer.
We've been around land auctions our entire life. The most enjoyable part of the auction business is seeing a satisfied seller. We feel we add a beneficial service to the broker, farm manager, attorney. After the listing is signed is when we kind of come in, take over with everything from advertising and marketing to choosing the ideal location to hold the auction, meeting face-to-face with potential buyers, getting a well-rounded strategy for the land to sell at the highest price possible.
There's a lot of auctioneers out there that try to specialize in every type of auctioneering. Tyler and I have kind of narrowed it down to machinery and land. And we really want to focus on the land part, what land's doing, what the inflation's doing, with the change of prices. Our goal is one family at a time. Once you call us, you're our main focus. From that first phone call that you call us, we are working for you from that point on 100%.
Hey, my name is Tyler Adams.
I'm Damon Adams. Our goal is to sell land all over Iowa.
I got 9300, 94, 94, 93 to bend the 4, 4, 4.
It's well known across the Midwest that the live public auction method creates the excitement and urgency required to sell land at its highest potential price.
94 to bend the 5, 94 to bend the 5, 5, 5, 9495, 94 now, 9500, 94 to bend the 5, 5, 5, 9400 now, 95, 95, 9600.
There are many important details that happen behind the scenes before an auction can take place. Iowa Land Auctioneers turned to Nisley & Nisley Incorporated to form an experienced partnership capable of handling even the most demanding situations.
My name is Mike Nisley. I'm an owner of Nisley & Nisley Incorporated. I'm an accredited farm manager. I'm also a licensed real estate broker. Back in the 80s, land auctions weren't very widely known, and of course there were some foreclosures on land, and it was still pretty much a private treaty sale. And to look back at that now 30 years later, it's really interesting to see the dynamic shift. So now when you go to an auction and the room's full of interested buyers, or maybe just interested people, but a lot of the farmers have had good years and they're ready to invest it back in their operations. One of the best ways to expand their operations is by purchasing the ground. As a real estate broker without any auctioneering training, I didn't have an avenue to get into the auction business. And Damon and Tyler came to me and said, hey, why don't we partner up and look at auctioning some farm ground? And I was excited to do it. I had a lot of my personal clients, a lot of our income tax clients, people that we'd had a relationship with for a number of years, that suddenly were wanting to sell their ground, and they were going to my competitor and having their land auctioned off. And it was real tough for me to see that happen when we had what I felt was a good working relationship with them, but yet I couldn't service them. So I'm excited about the arrangement with Iowa Land Auctioneers and working with them to help facilitate some auction situations. We've had a couple instances in our most recent sales where we've had multiple ownership, where the parent passes away and now there's a legacy of heirs behind that are now forced to come back together and talk to each other again. And sometimes that's difficult when families haven't been close, they have different attitudes, and they need a common person, a stabilizing force to pull that together and reach their goal of getting their farm sold. You run into situations where the heirs maybe were born in Iowa and lived around here, so they have some connections to Iowa, but now they're all in all different parts of the country or the world. They don't have any tie or real emotional connection to the land anymore. It's a process of communicating with them, doing conference calls, emails back and forth through all the parties, making sure they're all comfortable with the process that's going on. And it's just a communication process. Oftentimes those communication levels are broken down between the family units, and that's my job, is to bridge that communication and not necessarily get them all talking together, but sharing those ideas that they each have so that they reach that common goal of getting that farmland sold.
I'd say they handled it quite professionally. They set up ahead of time, worked well with the broker, get everything in line so that we would have the sale accomplished today. He always says he has the sales contracts already printed on the computer and pushes print with the names on them, and they'll be ready to go.
I thought everything went really well from the time that we contacted them for the sale. They stayed in contact with us, seeing if we had any concerns. Very nice people to work with, and everything was great. They worked for us.
Yep.
They worked for the seller.
I thought the auction went very well, handled it very nicely, that they allowed people to kind of think through what they're bidding on, and I thought it was a nice pace. They took a recess, which wasn't real long, but still allowed people to ask questions and so on.
If you're looking for someone to handle the sale of your family property, please give Iowa Land Auctioneers a call. We have the experience it takes to make your transaction as seamless and enjoyable as possible.